Coming live from the studio, this is All Sports with Gerardo. Thank you for watching another episode of All Sports. This is your host Gerardo, and all I talk is sports. On the show today, I am going to talk about NFL football and NBA basketball. Before I start the show, I hope you all had a great week. To start off with NFL football, Tom Brady has recorded 25 touchdown passes in a season for the 15th time. Russell Wilson joined Drew Brees and Hall of Famer Brett Favre as the only players in NFL history with 30 or more touchdown passes in at least 4 consecutive seasons. Kyler Murray is the first player in NFL history with 1+ passing and rushing touchdown in 5 straight games. Justin Herbert now has 5 games with 3+ passing touchdowns, which is a rookie record. Michael Thomas has surpassed Jarvis Landry for the most receptions in NFL history through a player's first 5 seasons. Travis Kelce has surpassed Hall of Famer Tony Gonzalez for the second most receptions in NFL history by a tight end in his first 8 seasons. Chase Claypool is the first wide receiver in the Super Bowl era and the 4th in league history with at least 10 touchdowns in his first 10 career games. Alvin Kamara is the first player in NFL history with 500+ rushing yards and 500+ receiving yards in each of his first 4 seasons. James Robinson is the 5th undrafted rookie in the common draft era to record 1,000 scrimmage yards. Joe Burrow will miss the rest of the season with a torn ACL and MCL. No player has made more 50+ yard field goals in a single season in Broncos history than kicker Brandon Mcmanus. Broncos head coach Vic Fangio has a 17-8 record as a defensive coordinator or head coach against rookie quarterbacks during his career. The Broncos beat the Dolphins 20-13 in Denver on Sunday, November 22nd. The Broncos go against the Saints in Denver on Sunday, November 29th. The Texans go against the Lions on Thanksgiving. Washington goes against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. The Ravens go against the Steelers on Thanksgiving. This is the 12th week of NFL football. So right now I'm going to update you with the Week 11 NFL football final scores. I'm also going to tell you the Week 12 NFL football schedule and the games to keep an eye on this week in NFL football. To start off, here are the Week 11 final scores and highlights from this week of NFL football. The Seahawks beat the Cardinals 28-21 on Thursday Night Football. The Saints beat the Falcons 24-9. The Texans beat the Patriots 27-20. The Browns beat the Eagles 22-17. The Titans beat the Ravens 30-24. The Broncos beat the Dolphins 20-13. The Cowboys beat the Vikings 31-28. The Colts beat the Packers 34-31. The Chiefs beat the Raiders 35-31 on Sunday Night Football. The Rams beat the Buccaneers 27-24 on Monday Night Football. This week is the 49ers, Giants, Bears, and the Bills bye week. Now taking a look at Week 12, here are the matchups to keep an eye on this week in NFL football. The Texans vs. the Lions on Thanksgiving. Washington vs. the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. The Ravens vs. the Steelers on Thanksgiving, the Cardinals vs. the Patriots, the Panthers vs. the Vikings, the Titans vs. the Colts, the Chargers vs. the Bills, the Raiders vs. the Falcons, the 49ers vs. the Rams, the Saints vs. the Broncos, the Chiefs vs. the Buccaneers, the Bears vs. the Packers on Sunday Night Football, and the Seahawks vs. the Eagles on Monday Night Football. So that's the Week 11 final scores and the Week 12 schedule for NFL football. So right now I'm going to update you with the current division standings in the AFC and NFC. To start off in the AFC East, right now the Bills are leading this division at 7 games, and the next closest team is the Dolphins at 6 games. In the AFC South, right now, the Colts and the Titans are tied for this division at 7 games. In the AFC North, right now the Steelers are leading this division at 10 games. And the Steelers are the last team in the NFL to remain undefeated. And the next closest team to the Steelers in this division is the Browns, and they're sitting at 7 games. And in the AFC West, right now the Chiefs are leading this division at 9 games, and the next closest team is the Raiders at 6 games. In the NFC West, right now the Rams and the Seahawks are tied for this division at 7 games. In the NFC South, right now the Saints are leading this division at 8 games, and the next closest team is the Buccaneers at 7 games. In the NFC East, right now the Eagles, Giants, Cowboys, and Washington are tied for this division at 3 games, and we'll just have to wait and see who wins this division. But any team in the NFC East can win their division and make it into the playoffs. And in the NFC North, right now the Packers are leading this division at 7 games, and the next closest team is the Bears at 5 games. So that's the current division standings in the AFC and NFC. Moving on now to NBA basketball, Klay Thompson suffered an Achilles injury, and he will miss the entire 2020-2021 season. The NBA announced the Raptors will play in Tampa Bay to begin the 2020-2021 season. The NBA draft was on Wednesday, November 18th. Now, taking a look at the NBA draft, here are the top 10 teams that had the top 10 picks in the 2020 NBA draft, and this is also the players that these top 10 teams selected in the 2020 NBA draft. The Timberwolves had the first overall pick in the 2020 NBA draft, and they selected Anthony Edwards. The Warriors had the second pick, and they selected James Wiseman. The Hornets had the third pick, and they selected LaMelo Ball. The Bulls had the fourth pick, and they selected Patrick Williams. The Cavaliers had the fifth pick, and they selected Isaac Oro. The Hawks had the sixth pick, and they selected Onyeka Owe. The Pistons had the seventh pick, and they selected Killian Hayes. The Knicks had the eighth pick, and they selected Obi Toppin. The Wizards had the ninth pick, and they selected Denny Oya. And the Suns had the 10th pick, and they selected Jalen Smith. The Nuggets drafted Zee Nahi with the 22nd pick, and the Pelicans drafted RJ Hampton with the 24th pick, and they traded him to the Nuggets. So the Nuggets landed up using their 22nd overall pick, and they selected a player. And after the Pelicans selected a player with their 24th overall pick, the Pelicans traded the 24th pick to the Nuggets. So for the Nuggets, instead of having one player from the 2020 NBA draft, the Nuggets were able to get 2 players from the 2020 NBA draft, and they were both in the first round of this year's draft. So that was good for the Nuggets to be able to get 2 players from the first round of the 2020 NBA draft. Lonzo and LaMelo Ball made NBA history as the first brothers drafted in the top 3 of the NBA draft. Free agency began on Friday, November 20th. Now, taking a look at free agency, here are all the moves that have happened so far during free agency. Mason Plumlee and the Pistons have agreed to a 3-year contract. Jordan Clarkson and the Jazz have agreed to a 4-year contract. De'Aaron Fox and the Kings have agreed to a 5-year contract extension. Rodney Hood and the Trailblazers have agreed to a 2-year contract. Dwight Howard and the 76ers have agreed to a 1-year contract. Marcus Morris and the Clippers have agreed to a 4-year contract. Montrezl Harrell and the Lakers have agreed to a 2-year contract. Danilo Gallinari and the Hawks have agreed to a 3-year contract. Fred VanVleet and the Raptors have agreed to a 4-year contract. Fred VanVleet's contract with the Raptors is the largest total value of any undrafted player in NBA history. Gordon Hayward and the Hornets have agreed to a 4-year contract. Rajon Rondo and the Hawks have agreed to a 2-year contract. Carmelo Anthony and the Trailblazers have agreed to a 1-year contract. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and the Lakers have agreed to a 3-year contract. Tristan Thompson and the Celtics have agreed to a 2-year contract. Serge Ibaka and the Clippers have agreed to a 2-year contract. Avery Bradley and the Heat have agreed to a 2-year contract. Paul Millsap and the Nuggets have agreed to a 1-year contract. Donovan Mitchell and the Jazz have agreed to a 5-year contract. Marc Gasol and the Lakers have agreed to a 2-year contract. Austin Rivers and the Knicks have agreed to a 1-year contract. Jason Tatum and the Celtics have agreed to a 5-year contract. Daryl Sarkic and the Suns have agreed to a 3-year contract. Bam Adebayo and the Heat have agreed to a 5-year contract. Brandon Ingram and the Pelicans have agreed to a 5-year contract. So far, those are all the moves that have happened in free agency so far. This is not the end of free agency or the off-season. Now that the NBA draft has passed, trades and free agency has begun in the last few weeks. The NBA off-season is going to continue, but it's almost the end of the NBA off-season in about a month from now. And before you know it, now that it's almost the end of November and we're heading into December, the NBA is going to start getting ready to prepare for the 2020-2021 season. And the 2020-2021 season will begin around Christmas, and the new season begins on December 22nd. So I'm definitely looking forward to the new NBA season and the start of the 2020-2021 season before Christmas. Moving on now to end the show, what to watch for this week in sports. The Texans vs. the Lions on Thanksgiving. Washington vs. the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. The Ravens vs. the Steelers on Thanksgiving. The Broncos go against the Saints in Denver on Sunday, November 29th. The Broncos, NFL football, college football. Moving on now, on the next show, I will talk about NFL football, Major League Baseball, and NBA basketball. I hope you all have a great week. Tune in to the next All Sports with Gerardo show next week. I want to say thank you to everybody that listens to All Sports. Subscribe or like my pages on social media at All Sports with Gerardo. Until next time, this is Gerardo.